chord and play it into the computer in real time. With the notation software, you hit either a note or a whole chord on your MIDI piano keyboard, and then on your computer keyboard you type in a value, corresponding value for your note, like a quarter note or an eighth note, and you type in the music that way. And that doesn't go in real time like the music goes. It goes similar to with pencil and paper, how fast your mind goes. And you don't listen, and it doesn't play it back right away while you're typing it in. Once you're done with the section, then you can have the notation software play it back. But Finale plays it back very rudimentary and without any articulation or dynamics. I would never play that to a client as a demo. This is just for me to see if the notes are all correct. And then if a client ever wants to hear a MIDI demo, which nowadays a lot of clients expect you to deliver a detailed mock-up, once I'm done writing it in Finale, I export the MIDI data, import it to a MIDI sequencer, assign good sounding orchestra samples to each MIDI track, and then polish the dynamics, which is a process which takes almost as long as writing the initial arrangement in Finale. And then that's a polished demo then I would play to a client.
I see.
And it still doesn't sound quite what it would sound like with a real orchestra.
Right, of course. Well, and things happen in the room that make it sound so much different.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And also I rely on the input of the performing musicians, on the feeling they put into the music.
That's great. What other technical things do you use?
Yeah, like I use Pro Tools even as my MIDI sequencer, but it works similar. I use it similar as you would use Logic or Digital Performer or one of those.
They're all similar.
Yeah.
Anything in the distant future that you're not working on yet, but you're planning on? Are you still doing your big band?
I'm still doing my big band. We will still play live once in a while, and we'll be sort of the jazz. Unfortunately for Los Angeles, there are not many jazz clubs.
Right.
Which is
Catalinas and
Vibrato, and that's about it. Which I think is very unfortunate for a city like Los Angeles, as big and with a vibrant music scene. There are not more than those jazz clubs. But we're going to play in October at the Wallace Annenberg Performing Arts Center in Beverly Hills, and doing sort of like a Rat Pack themed show.
Oh, okay.
With my big band. So that's going to be fun.
Yeah, that sounds great.
And then I'll be conducting at the Hollywood Bowl this summer again with Christopher Cross. You're going
to do the show with Kenny Loggins, Michael
McDonald, exactly, and Christopher Cross. I'll be doing.
Actually, I was asked to do that, but I can't now because I ended up with a tour during that time, so I can't.
Would have been
can't
nice.
be there, but
would have been nice to be working.
Was looking forward to it.
Yeah,
for a minute there anyway. Yeah, that should be a fun show. It's 2 nights.
It's 2 nights, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a big place, and that's a great place, of course, for orchestral stuff.
Yeah. And I usually do every summer, one form or another. I end up conducting a show at the Hollywood Bowl. I work for them a lot. I write for them arrangements a lot for the LA Phil and the Hollywood Bowl Orchestra, and I write for other orchestras sometimes just for the performances. Nothing that ever be recorded, but I write arrangements for the Boston Pops Orchestra, and I recently wrote arrangements for Lisa Fischer. She was doing 3 concerts with the Seattle Symphony. So I enjoy writing concert music as well.
You're just a workaholic, aren't you? You love to work.
Yeah.
And you love what you do, and that's great.
Yeah.
Well, that's about all the questions I have for you, Chris. I sure appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to
No, it was my pleasure.
To spend a little bit of time with me here.
Yeah.
It's great seeing where you do all this magic.
Thank you. Yeah.
It's a nice place.
I like coming here. And most of my projects are being recorded here at Capitol Studios downstairs anyway. So my room was, for years I had a room at Ocean Way, which is called now United. But since I had more often, I would have to come over for recording sessions to Capitol. That's when I inquired about a room here. So now
are there other composers, people like you, that have rooms here?
Actually, I'm the only one, and I'm quite happy about that fact. I'm actually the only tenant in this building that is not affiliated to either the record company, Capitol Records, or the studios downstairs. And they were, for a long time, they would not take any tenants on that is not affiliated with their business. But they were gracious enough to give me that room. And,
Nice.
That's a good... And the point, like you were asking if there are any other people like this, which is good for me to be the only composer arranger in the building, because if they ever need one, they'll come to me. And
Does that happen?
It does happen, and that's the synergy that I was hoping for. Sometimes they're producers, and they come through this building. Sometimes producers I know or I don't know. They hear that I'm in the building, and then they come, hey, we need a string arrangement real quick for what was the other day, it was LeAnn Rimes. And then, sure, and I'll do it if I have time, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, in the end, yeah, it's a good networking tool. I get to meet a lot of artists and producers, and then if I'm recording downstairs, people pop in and say hi and see what I'm doing, and
Yeah, it's a great place to hang out.
yeah,
A lot of history here.
exactly.
All right, Chris. Well, thank you so much again, and hopefully I'll get to work with you again sometime in the
I would
future.
love that, Ross. Yeah, thank you.
And,
well, thanks for having me on this podcast. I enjoyed it.
All right. Well, we're going to say goodbye. Thanks to Chris Walden. Bye-bye. The Rossaround Backstage Podcast wants to thank my good friend Tim Heinz for the original music that you are listening to now. We are currently looking for sponsors for the Rossaround Backstage Podcasts so that we can continue to bring you interesting stories like the one you just heard. I can be reached through Facebook or email me at rosspallone@me.com. Thank you for listening.